And focus your mind to this bell sound and follow the sound, please. So while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing. Let your whole body weight go down. And gently close your eyes, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So, dear Dhamma friends, today we're going to practice this tranquility meditation and insight meditation together. So, in the beginning, we develop our mind to tranquility state, focusing mind to inhalation, exhalation. So in the beginning, we have to develop a nature inside our mind to stay calm and relaxed without getting disturbed out of our own thoughts or out of whatever the perceptions come to us. So once you develop a mind not to get disturbed, and that will help you to focus deeply, thoroughly to inside your inner experience. So that is vipassana meditation or analytical meditation or panya bhavana. So in the beginning, when you observe the inhalation, exhalation in tranquility meditation, so remember that calmness is already there. Only thing is just allow it to arise. That calmness is not something that you can put from outside. It is not even the calmness that you can make calm yourself. No, calmness is there. Let it arise. Because otherwise, if you try to make your mind calmness, it's kind of like you develop self-authority regarding your own mind. Then it going to increase your self-centered mind. So I make my mind calm. It is not like that. Just remember, calmness is there. And the busyness also there. So without your intention, see how the mind became busy. Why it is? Because it didn't have any option. That is what it used to be. That's why it became like that. So that is a good example you to understand, even to get into tranquility state also. So if you use the tranquility state little by little, if you are able to stay focused to inhalation, exhalation, so the mind start to follow that pattern. So rather than then mind become busy, then later the mind become calm. You know, in the now you struggling to make your mind calmness. And so it kind of like in the beginning, for some beginners, it is very difficult. And there's some always complain that I cannot keep my mind, that it's always go here and there. So like that. But the same thing can happen when you develop the calmness. Even once it get into the deeper, the pattern of that to become calm, even intensely you cannot make your mind busy. It go to calmness. It's like a physical habits. See, once you kind of like get used to something, or once it become habit, how difficult it is. Wherever you go, naturally it happen to you. Same thing with the mind also. So what you experience as busyness, just you have to transform to make it usable. How you can use usable your mind when it become calm. So then remember, it is not you doing it, it is there. Only thing is allow it to happen. So that way you just stay in the middle without jumping to any, and then it is bring the attention and bring the primary mental object and just stay and settle down with it, and again and again, again and again, be clear 100% with your mental object, and then you will see little by little mind going to be there. So otherwise it is not you militarize and you wrestling with your mind, you punishing to your mind. It is not like that. You just become calm and give the primary mental object and stay with it. Only thing is, wherever the mind go, just recognize yourself to the inhalation, exhalation, bring the attention to that, and then you will see second by second, moment by moment, the mind start to follow that path. So that is the tranquility state of practice. In tranquility state of the meditation, we develop the calmness. It's called samadhi. So in the samadhi, in the tranquility state, deeply, we can go till the fourth absorption, high mental powers. So in that fourth absorptions, that first to fourth, that little by little, what will happen? So this hindrance going to slow down, and it going to the neutral mood. But still remember, that doesn't mean it going to completely go away, but it's not going to activate. Like as example, kama chanda, desire. Desire is there, but still when it comes to tranquility state, when your mind has a clear mental object and the mind settle down with that, no any desire arise. But when you open your eyes, when you go here and there, when you see something, maybe when your mind is not in a tranquility state, maybe that the desire can arise. So that's very nature. So like that, in tranquility state, it always go to the neutral mode. It going to completely disappear when it go to vipassana level. So then just recognize these five hindrance. The another meaning of the tranquility and the vipassana, in the tranquility meditation, what it does, it settle down, it allow to settle down your five hindrance. And when it get into high mental powers, which called jhana or jhana, or in Japanese, it called satori. So it has four stages: first absorption, second absorption, third absorption, and the fourth absorption. But it still even attain to the fourth absorption, it's going to be sleep, your hindrance. It's not going to go away. But when it go to vipassana level, in the vipassana level, deeply when you observe and recognize things, how things come to be as they are, or when you deeply recognize the impermanent, in that place, you're going to completely destroy the hindrance. So that is one difference with the samatha and vipassana. Regarding hindrance, in samatha, it neutralizes, in vipassana, completely eradicate. So then yourself in the beginning just settle down. We get into the tranquility state to use our mind to vipassana, not to go with anything else. So because if you know that, if you have that intention, if you have the clear intention regarding that, it will help you to develop the mind little by little in the vipassana path. So otherwise on the way, sometimes your mind yourself, whatever the feelings arise in your mind, when the mind settle down little by little, calm down little by little, the completely your physical and mental reactions going to become changed. Sometimes, especially when your body become heavy, the completely your physical chemical reaction going to become different. The same thing happening when the body become calm down, when the mind become calm down, that way also physically, mentally, this whole chemical reaction going to become different. In that chemical reaction, sometimes if you don't have the very clear sharp mind to recognize or stay with the primary mental object, sometimes you get lost within your own emotions or the chemical reactions, and you cannot find a way back. You cannot find what to do. You stuck with the feelings. It is not a kind of like the bad feeling, because it deeply you never experienced that comfort, and in that comfort suddenly you cannot see what to do. So that's why you have the determination, you develop the tranquility state, go towards the vipassana. So in that way, so whatever the chemical or emotional reactions come, it you have power to go through it. And that is one thing. So once you focus to inhalation, exhalation, slowly we develop our awareness following the sensation of the inhalation, exhalation. The same method you have to do with the vipassana also. When you observe, you don't interfere and you don't comment and you don't add your past experience. You don't compare. So you allow it to naturally happen itself. And without adding anything or without losing anything, you 100% you start to see very clearly. So once you observe the inhalation, exhalation from knowingly this is inhalation, this is exhalation, see separately. And then follow the entire continuation of the inhalation, exhalation. This is the beginning, this is the middle, this is the end. See entire breath body. And while you're seeing that way, you will experience some inhalation, exhalation, longer, shorter, heavy, soft, warm, cold. Sometimes only right nostril inhale, sometimes only left inhale. So like that. Just see it. And while you're seeing, let your body, mind, breathing to settle down. Then once the mind able to really completely 100% see the inhalation, exhalation, naturally, you going to get into tranquility state and you don't not going to get disturbed out of so whatever the perception. So from there you go to vipassana level. So in the vipassana level, vipassana means deeply passana, observe or see. You analytically understand. It is not just something you see and you get it. No, you deeply observe, thoroughly observe and recognize. This is a kind of like a different nature, because in our mind we didn't do like that way in day-to-day life. We used to see whatever as it is, whatever we hear, and that. And this other thing is deeply there is something else happening. When you see, hear, smell, taste, feeling, sensations, or when you have the ideas, deeper inside your mind, what is happening in that very moment with your perceptions, you have conversation with your past experience, because we didn't have any kind of wisdom or the knowledge or the method to experience something without thoughts related to past experience. So because of that, this always kind of like a boiling fire inside us, boiling water inside us. Why? Because whatever you see, it is not tree itself. It always have the argument, comparison with your past experience. See, with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, with this, all the six senses, always that if your past experience happening and dealing, see how unrest you are. So that is why in the Vipassana level, you drop this nature. How you can do it? It is not you doing something. It is just you become aware with the moment that you experience. When you thoroughly, deeply observe that what is happening, your mind not going to bring the past experience to the moment, because it happened really when you are not conscious mostly. So in this Vipassana level, in this 4 foundation meditation, there are 4 ways that we've developed that. One is Kayanupassana, contemplating the body, and Vedananupasana, contemplating the feelings, sensation, Chittanupassana, contemplating the mind or the thoughts, and Dhammanupasana, contemplating the very nature of our body. This all 4 foundations is nothing about outside. It is your inner experience. That is why it's a inside meditation. In another way. So it is, you have to remember, never try to put your attention to out of you. It always, the boundary line should be your body. So today we're going to practice contemplating the feelings or the sensation. So in the beginning, so there are few methods you have to go, and there are different schools and teach in different ways. So to cover this whole averagely, to get a wider experience regarding this meditation, to complete, even wherever you go with whatever the school, even if you want to practice, or even to get out of all the divisions, that we have to get a very clear, wider understanding regarding this meditation. All 4 meditations we have to go with like that. So because sometimes there are certain schools, certain teachers, they become very sharp and clear with the kind of like different ways. So anyway, so somehow it like a climbing a mountain. In which way you take, if it is your practice, it never going to take any kind of practice itself, technique itself going to take you to a higher level. So whatever the technique, that the way you practice, going to bring you the result. Always remember that. It's nothing to do. Even the Buddha come to in front of you and tell you something. If you don't practice it wrong way, you're not going to get the right result. So that's why always remember, and sometimes when you read or when you hear, when you see certain different methods, you appreciate it, you accept it, and you respect it. But at the same time, always remember, there is no, anywhere in this universe, there is no such a meditation just by practicing technique. It's going to take you to the wisdom. So it is your practice should be 100% involving with the clear mind. So then when it comes to Vedananupassana, contemplating the pain or the sensation. So in the beginning, we go with the physical sensation. So whatever arises in our body, in the outside, surface level of the body. When you see that, there are certain places you recognize different kind of feelings arise. Because the feelings in the surface level, it is not the same feeling or the sensation. It is different. Just recognize that difference, the character. So as example, palm, it's very rough. And sometimes very soft feelings you cannot get into your palm. And like face and head, like ear, even little sensation, like when the mind become more relaxed, calm, and sometimes your ears start to vibrate and get kind of like a numb. So it's very easily can catch that. But your shoulders cannot get it like that way. And so like that, there are different places have different kind of feelings, sensation. Just observe that in the surface level and learn to recognize without interfering to it, without judging, comment, or without adding your past experience. Just see it as it is separately. And then other thing is, don't stay too long in one place. So because everywhere all the time sensation happen, you recognize one place and you see it, recognize, and then slowly while you seeing that place, you may see some other place start to giving kind of like a sensation. So you go to that. So like that way, cover entire body, place to place, place to place. In a certain level, when you observe that way, sometimes suddenly you feel this entire body, whole body as kind of like a one. Like in yoga, it's called Kevalya. The entire body, it's kind of like a whole, like a balloon. You each and every place you have the same feeling. It is not minor or higher. So the entire body have the same feeling. So that also can happen. But just keeps observe. Another thing is, when it comes to feelings, it is not the, so now we go a little bit deeper. I think you may know that how the five aggregates: form, sensation, form, feeling, sensation, formations, recognition. So with the feelings also the same. It deeply connect to your mind. So wherever the feelings arise, it is kind of like a form. So that body or the feelings or wherever that the feelings arise, in the very first thing, that may be because of the heat or the tightness or the comfort or the deeply relaxation, because of whatever, the feelings can arise. So then you go and see how deeply your mind going to react to that. And maybe you take it as a good feeling, or maybe pleasant feeling, or unpleasant feeling, or neutral feeling. So whatever you come, you don't react to that way. Just you see and let it move. So because deeply it connected to the mind, otherwise you're not going to recognize it as a pleasant or unpleasant or neutral feeling. But sometimes if you practice yourself another time, and you may recognize it how the mind connected. Just I give as a point of reference this information. So anyway, don't go with too much that in details with the mind, to because then sometimes it become then that you start to develop a logic out of the feelings. So then you get out of the main purpose. So our purpose is not giving that much space for the mind, but in the surface level, whatever you feel, just get it as a feeling. That is enough. Another thing is that feelings has power to ignite the memory. Certain feelings, not all the feelings. It has power to ignite the old memory. So if you see that way, you no need to fascinate about that. Oh my, when I practice meditation, suddenly I start to remember my past. It's not like that. It is there. Only thing is, now you may see it. So otherwise, other than that, there's nothing else. It is just a thought. So just remember that, observe deeply. And other thing is, when you see the feelings, just see the change. There is no any feelings going to be without change. See the change. And as I mentioned, 5 hindrance, when you see the change, change is the tool to destroy the hindrance. Otherwise, if you don't see the change out of what you see, it's not going to become vipassana even. The very nature of the vipassana, you go through the experience and see the change. Rising, change. Rising, change. So that follow that change. And so whatever you see, don't get into a solid experience. And just observe, and what you recognize, and through that way, and you may see it is as a pleasant or unpleasant. Don't stop there. Go deeper, and it doesn't matter pleasant feeling, unpleasant feelings, neutral feelings. That all has same nature. Rising, change. Rising, change. Just experience that. So with that, let's practice a little bit. So always remember, if you're able to go to very short sessions, that's going to become more benefit in the beginning rather than going for a long session. So you can go for a long session, and little by little, when you master yourself. But it always quality, solid, short period of practice going to bring you good result. So not all the time, not all the people, but for some. So yourself, then when you practice, give your best. Okay, so your right palm on your left, neck head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. Scan head to toes 3 times yourself and say Swapatveva. Oh, may I be well and happy. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment, with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we are spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. In the beginning, just remain with your inhalation, exhalation, then observe the sensation of your body. So bring your attention to in front of your nose and your upper lip area. Deeply and gently breathe in, breathe out 3 times, please. And find the sensation in front of your nose and your upper lip area. And just settle down your awareness wherever you feel that sensation and wait. It's like you camping and waiting and watching the river or the ocean. Just allow it to happen. Don't interfere with it. Just see. Recognize separately. This is inhalation. This is exhalation. Follow the entire continuation of the inhalation, exhalation. Sometimes you may see some inhalation become longer, shorter, heavy, soft, warm, cold. Just recognize, just accept it. Bring your attention to your body and observe the sensation. Bring your attention to your inhalation, exhalation. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also, as far as you can through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this with clear intention mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe, and may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are pale or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one, out of anger or ill will, wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. Expand the capacity little by little. To your backside, to your left side, and to your right side. Downward and upward. To all six directions at once, like the moon, the sun. Spread the light, spread the energy without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance, or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dhamma friends, when it comes to practice meditation, in sometimes from the history that we see, people use this meditation as a tool to escape from the reality. So, but when it comes to vipassana meditation, rather than go away from reality, it always take you towards the reality. So then always remember, when it comes to this meditation practice, it always going to make you more important person to the society, to your family, to your society, your country, to entire this universe. And seeing the truth, not go away from the truth. So when it comes to seeing the truth means, it is just not seeing only the eternal truth. Even the in conventional level truth also you're going to see. Because from the history, there are a lot of people used meditation, this name called meditation, to mesmerize people and shut down their mind, because then they don't see this conventional life. And it's kind same like the in Europe soccer. Though whatever the problems in day-to-day life, you're not going to see anymore. And from the ancient times, sometimes the government spends so much money behind. There are certain gurus to do lot of retreats and keep the most young generation shut down. It happened in the ancient time to today. It happening. If you find any kind of political intelligence service people and ask them, that you will recognize the big names will come, that today people worship their names. And when you hear their names, people worship. But it publicly, there are certain documents and certain intelligence services, political intelligence services, went deeper to see how the government runs, and deeply government funding to these gurus to do their mesmerized meditation techniques as a part of the government, to keep their corruptions, to hide from the society. So it happened all the time. So that's why you have to remember, this practicing meditation is not kind of like a take you to kind of like a la la land, or it going to bring kind of like any kind of light or any kind of radiation from the outside and make you enlightened. It's not going to do like that way. So whatever happened in front of you, and it's not kind of like, oh, everything possible to change, it's a all anitya. So like that, you're not going to see like that way. In the vipassana level, the both conventional truth and eternal truth, you start to see very clearly. And that is where, as a person, ordinary person, you're going to become more aware regarding that. And the action you take going to become more different than the other people. And then you become more active person to the conventional life and the society itself. Then all the enlightened masters in the history, like that, they are the one who became more active than others. And even the first group of the monks, the Buddha's followers, what the Buddha said, Charita Bhikkhave Charikam Bahujana Hitaya Bahujana Sukhaya. It is not for only people who practice for meditation, for all living beings and for most of the people. We have that for the good, and go and start to preach the Dhamma. Go and give this gift. That is what Buddha said. So then you have to remember, when you practice this path of meditation, it is not going to shut down your mind in one way and you're going to mesmerize and you become kind of like the completely that different person and detached from the society. You're not going to become completely kind of like a neutral person. No, you become more clear, sharp. So when it comes to that how this is happening. So how the the conventional life and how your spiritual life both going to develop through this practice. So we're going to go to the bottom, and it's like how. And so then yourself, you have to channel your mind to the same level, and that is where you're going to understand what I'm trying to explain. So it's like this. Remember, like a goldsmith, like ironsmith, don't afraid to question and don't afraid to beat it and burn it and see how this is and why this is like that way. So that is where your deeper the consciousness going to become more sharp and clear. That is where all the dust going to go away. So when we come to this world, the very first gift that we get is the self. No one can deny it. The very first gift we get is the title, is the self. So to go towards the Nibbana, also we need the self. And also stay in the samsara, also we need the self. So it's like this kind of like a government. The samsara, the life existence itself, like a government, like the Jesus, the kingdom. So once you come here, what happening? The agent from the Mara come and give a title to you, self. And then once you have the self, how you can deal with this? So because you cannot stay away from it, you have to accept it. You come with it. So then, if you develop yourself with the moral practice, ethics, that you always yourself's identity, that whatever the self-centered life always going to become better. If you develop it with the moral practice, fundamental human ethics and qualities. So if you develop that yourself, and with the help of that, and then your life going to become good. But at the same time, there is a choice come to you. If you develop that self with the self greedy or the self important idea, I am important idea, then it always bound to the samsara. So then in the beginning, so what is happening? Your parents have, when you come as a child, always your parents have one idea, it's common to all the parents. There is no any mother or the father, they're going to be different. They all have one idea. What is that? This my child, my daughter, my son should be better than me. So that is where you get your the moral values, fundamental human ethics. No any mother or the father try to help you to go lower than them. So then they always try to build your life with the moral values. It's common to all the human beings. Even anywhere in the far away in the Amazon, in the African, in the middle of the jungle, if the father is a hunter, if they have the child, they have the intention, this my child should be better than me. Even there are sometimes the hunter thinking, oh, my child should go to university if they know about it. Or my child should go to university or study something better and get a degree. Or even regarding hunting degree, or like that. They think like that way, always to be better than me. So that is where you get your moral values and your fundamental human qualities and the fundamental human rights. But at the same time, what is happening? There are some that we cannot say it, we cannot say how it is happening. But it also come out of the human. And because mostly the greediness, anger, and the hatred is stronger always in the society. So as a result of that, what is happening? There are some ideas come to us, and it can come by the mostly by the as a result of the government. Or why it is not the government mean the president or the vice president and not the parliament, or say it is not that. The government, there are some people invest the money to run the government, to run their business. They have idea to transplant the greediness in the people. So now you get the moral values from your parents and the culture, but at the same time, when it comes to society, when you go to society, they giving you choice. And what is that choice? You have the self-greediness and idea of self-importance. Once you have that, what is happening to that moral life? It demoralizing. So once you get into demoralized lifestyle, what is happening? And that will make you more weaker. And then you become a person that start to realize the nature through ideology. So that is the very nature of that we demoralizing character. Always you're going to realize the nature of the things through ideology. That's mean the idea, you depending from idea. See, that is what happening. Even when it come to religion, even it come to the meditation sometimes, and we depending from ideas. And through depending from ideas, you like to find the liberation. But that is the most, the powerful, the character that hold by the vipassana. Why? Because there is no way that any teacher can that decode or that can teach the vipassana with the ideology. So whatever they say, when it go to vipassana, what you have to do? You have to let go all the ideas. So see, that is the power of the Buddha's teaching. There is no one can and use it in a wrong way. Another thing is, whatever the ideology you carried, and look for the reality through that ideology, when it comes to vipassana, it has no power that you can mix it with that technique. Why? Because when it comes to vipassana, you have to be free. So when you become clearly free, what is happening? You always depending from your moral values, your fundamental human qualities, what we call ethics. So that's why the precepts is a certain way it helps for us in when we practice meditation to have a clear mind. So, but the thing is, when a person, listen this very carefully, when a person develop a character to look for the reality through the ideology, and he will never find the truth, even though you shower the 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 right information to his head, still he never going to see the reality. He always look for ideas. He always look for ideas. So that is, see, that is how we bound to this, the information world. That is how the world became so powerful with the information. It's because we mesmerize with the ideas. And whatever the new ideas come tomorrow, people go with it. And how it became, because the very reason to go like that way, in a deeper, we have a character with the self-greedy and self-idea of the self-important. So that's how it goes. And then what is happening, when you go with the ideas, then that you destabilize, unbalance. So once you become unbalanced, and then you become a discouraged and dispirit person. You don't have any values just by yourself. So then what will happen? It always, you depending from something. You depending from money, title, space, and the environment, people, the position. So you always depending. Then you become kind of like, you develop a nature, kind of like a beggary. So there is no freedom inside you. You lose yourself, then you living, but still you depending from something. So why? Because you develop the self-greediness and self-important idea. But if you go with the, the moral values, what is happening? When you go with the moral values, so if you go with the fundamental human qualities or ethics, you develop the, rather than self-greediness or rather than self-important, you develop self-confidence. And then that self-confidence will bring the calmness or the comfort to yourself, and that will help you to have the self-awareness. See, now you may see how it go to the self, the same self can go towards the samsara or can go towards the nibbana. Because sometimes people ask question, how this self, if you have the self, how it can go to nibbana with this idea. So this is, now you may see how the foundation comes. If you develop the self with the moral value, that self always going to come out of the self-confidence, and it develop the self-awareness. But if you go with the self-greediness or the idea of self-importance, and then you always depending from the ideology, and then you go that way and looking for experiencing reality with the ideas, and then you develop a kind of like an unbalanced lifestyle. You destabilize your mind depending from always through the information, or then you depend from the society, culture, or the money, or the position, or anything, even your self-image. So that anything, always you depending from that, then it de-spirit you. And then destabilize, and then what is happening? It develop the beggar inside. You become kind of like a beggar. Always look for something, look for something, look for something. But if you go with the self-awareness, then rather than you looking for the truth through ideology, you start to look the truth through self-experience. When you look for the truth through self-experience, you become more independence from the informations or the title or the position or the environment or the material. And then you become free. When you become free, just the study point of view, we use name word called the spirit, and then you become more relaxed and comfortable person. See, rather than becoming this spirit, you develop your spirit higher. So this is how that the deeper level that our self can work, that work for the samsara and the nibbana. So that is not going to just there is more. So once the self now destabilize, and then it discourage the spirit and depending from something, and always kind of like develop a beggarly nature, and the struggle come. That the struggle is called suffering. That the struggle, it's a kind of like a crisis. That crisis itself inside us is the suffering. There is no rest. And it's kind of like a disease. Very being itself become a disease. Why? Because the no is. It's you get out of the is and you lose the is, and then you develop disease. What is the nature of the disease? Unrest. Uncomfortable. So even you go to sleep, you are not rest. Even in the dream, always. Why? The beggary, looking for some through your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, looking, asking, grasping, and even that praying, always try to go towards something, get something, get something. See how it becomes so powerful in the samsara. But if you go toward the self-confident and with the self-awareness, and rather than that the dependency, you start to develop the independence. That independence life itself bring the peace, tranquility state, and develop the calmness. And that calmness again will help you to go towards the awareness. And that awareness itself take you out of the crisis or the suffering. The thing is this, when you go towards the beggary and the discourage and the disappointment and dispirit and dependency, and then you always develop this beggary nature through your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, and looking for the perception or through the desires, that all remember self-centered, self-greedy, and with the self-important. You want to look something with the self-centered and self-greedy. But if you develop the moral values, discipline come, and then you recognize this is good, this is bad, I have to do this, I no need to do this. So like that. And fundamental human qualities always help you to see what to do and how to do and when to do. So like that way. See how it become different. But the thing is this, when the the crisis or the struggle, suffering become normalized. Once it become normal, that you take it as a life, you accept it, you you enjoy it, you live with it, you dance with it, and you sleep with it, and so whatever you do, you ready to do it with, because it is now normal for you. So that is what called samsara, and that is what suffering people, it is, once the suffering normalize, it is very difficult to take out. So that is why it is very difficult to even ourselves to practice a little bit and to go towards the clarity. Why? Because even within ourselves, this suffering, this crisis, this disease already normalized, stabilized. It's there, settled down. Now it's okay. It happened to us. It is very easily happen to human beings. You keep doing whatever any that the very difficult hard things for few days, what will happen? If you are able to see again and again and again, whatever, it's going to become normal for you. Then it become okay. Then you're going to live with it. Keep any bad smell next to you few days. After few days, you don't say it. It's normal now. You know, have you seen that, you know, some in our country sometimes, you know, the train go in a very narrow place, that all the, you know, the behind that the old the two sides houses, people living, and sometimes when you hear the how the train sound, it's, you know, maybe few kilometers you hear that sound. But sometimes I used to be in a temple next to the, you know, the railroad, and after few days, and even you don't remember if the rain go or not. If somebody asks, did the rain go, that the train go, and don't remember. That much it become, you know, normal. And that is so dangerous. Once the suffering become stabilized, normalized to your life, remember, you are in the samsara, you enjoy the samsara, you enjoy the suffering. So, but the self is the key point. And if you are able to develop the self with the moral values, fundamental human qualities, ethics, so the same self has power to take you to awareness. Through the courage, through the confidence. And that way, if you go, you become more independent rather than depending. And in that path, once you get into the self-awareness, in that self-awareness, you release that all the thoughts, and you able to experience in the very first level, you experience things as it is in tranquility state. And from there, when you go to Vipassana, you are able to recognize how things come to be as they are. And this is the way spiritual life and conventional life diverge. But the thing is, to increase the value of self-greediness and self-importance, that is where the government funding, the programs, all the business people and everybody, that is where they funding, and that is where they hold the society. And once they able to develop the ideology of self-importance and self-greediness, forget about the nibbana and people. And it doesn't matter whatever the corruptions come, whatever the bad things come, whatever the war happen in the world, and people don't care about it. They always going to go towards the self-important and self-greediness. The most dangerous part for the government is the vipassana knowledge. That's why, like in India, they wipe out all the Buddha's teaching. Even like in Sri Lanka also, many times the the kings who came to Sri Lanka, they used to burn. They're looking for. They go behind the Tripitaka and burn it. Go behind the Tripitaka and burn it. Why? Because the truth, the vipassana knowledge of truth is challenged, not the government. It challenged to the self-important and self-greediness. If any person come out of the self-greediness or the self-important, that person have the greater compassion and open heart to see entire universe. And that's why you can say, may all living beings be well and happy. And they don't like anybody suffering. They don't like if anybody become minor. And they don't accept if anybody go lower. So that is where that the government or whoever run whatever the country, the politics or anything, you can name whatever. That is the greater challenge. And that's why they try to demoralize this idea little by little. And maybe the funding, lot of money to invest through the meditation. See, you have to see this current because it's coming more and more with this nowadays with this the new way of that information, because most people go to app and go online and practice meditation. And so you have to be very careful and you have to be aware. And is it try to transplant inside you self-awareness or the self-important? And or is it try to transplant in you that the self-awareness or the the self-courage or the discipline and the fundamental human qualities? And it is up to you. But if you become very clear, and then you will see. But somehow, whoever do whatever they do, there is no way that anybody can decode the knowledge of the vipassana. It always like a silent river. It always going to go. But it is up to you to jump to it and shower or get the water out of it and experience it, or otherwise you can jump to ideological the river and you can enjoy the sansara. It's both up to you. So with that, I bless upon with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no difficulties come to you, may no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. So during this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinassatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. Ittavata cha ammehi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vangotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.